up, guys? I'm Justin Berkeltz, and thank you for watching. It's time for another book review. So this week I'm going to be reviewing the book The Origins of the Mithraic Mysteries by David Ulansey. And this is an absolutely fascinating book. I just read the entire thing again this week just to do the review because it was so good. I just got caught up in it. And couldn't put it down. I really love this book. I think it's absolutely fascinating, and I can't wait to get into the review. But before I do, if you like book reviews and if you want to see more of this content, make sure to hit that subscribe button, and let's get to it. So Mithraism was one of the great ancient mystery cults that flourished in the Greco-Roman world. Accordingly, its teachings were kept very secret and passed down mostly by oral tradition. And this secrecy was taken very seriously. The punishment in many cases for breaking the secrecy of a mystery cult was death. So very little information survives about the beliefs and practices of these mysterious religions. But in the case of Mithraism, we do have a rich archaeological record of iconography and sculpture because most of their temples were built underground, and so they have survived in remarkable condition to this day. So while we only have a few very small literary or textual references to Mithraism and their practices and beliefs, we have a ton of iconography. In this incredibly entertaining and informative book, The Origins of the Mithraic Mysteries, author David Ulansey attempts to decode this iconography in an effort to reveal at least some of the mysteries of Mithraism. Along the way, the reader is drawn into the worldview of the ancients and David's own quest to uncover the origins of their unique iconography. You'll learn about Greco-Roman art, philosophy, myth, religion, and astronomy. And this is all crucial to understanding the origin of our own politics, culture, and religion. As the author points out, and I quote, "In addition to the inherent interests of such an enigmatic phenomenon, the study of Mithraism is also of great importance for our understanding of what Arnold Toynbee has called the Crucible of Christianity, the cultural matrix in which the Christian religion came to birth out of the civilization of the ancient Mediterranean. Arising at the same time and spreading in roughly the same geographical area, Mithraism and Christianity embodied two responses to the same set of cultural forces. The study of Mithraism, therefore, provides us with insight into the road not taken by Western civilization nearly 2,000 years ago. Insight, that is, into an unrecognized part of who we are today." As someone who is very interested in the origins of Christianity and the cultural matrix in which it came to birth, this just drew me in immediately. I actually stumbled across this book at an art hop event in Fresno. My brother had a booth there and he was selling some pottery and other art that he had made, and there was a little booth there and they had a few used books, and I of course had to look through them. I can't ever pass up an opportunity to look through used books, and this one stood out to me, and I am so glad that I picked it up because it is just absolutely fascinating. Really amazing book, and it is older. Let me see, I think this was 1989, but honestly I've looked, and the study of Mithraism has not really progressed very much since this time. As of now, supposedly there is still no scholarly consensus as to what they believed, what this iconography is about, etc. But David puts together a really brilliant argument that I found very persuasive and that a lot of other people find very persuasive as well. And he really opens up the worldview of the ancient Mediterranean people to you as you go through the book. It's just a really fascinating process of getting to know that world and that time and how those people thought about religion, how astronomy tied into their religion, etc. So I found this absolutely fascinating, as I'm sure many of you will. Now, this book actually grew out of David's work on his dissertation, and then he adapted that and made it much more accessible so that it's approachable for any reader, whether you are an academic or whether you're just interested. So this is one of the things that I really loved about the book. He tackles some really complex concepts like archaeoastronomy and ancient art and ancient kind of religious perspectives that are going to be foreign to a lot of people and that are complex concepts, but he explains them in really interesting and easy to understand ways. There are visual representations of things. The book is filled with illustrations and depictions and images of the actual art and the icons of Mithraism as well, so that you're not just reading about it, you're actually seeing what he's talking about as you go through it. And it really does help bring some of these maybe more abstract or more complex concepts together, and to show how these people viewed the world and the universe that they lived in. If you are familiar with the work of people like Graham Hancock, you will actually find a lot of similarities here in this book. Now, once again, this is written before most of his famous books like The Sign and the Seal, Fingerprints of the Gods, etc. This actually came out a few years before any of those. But it has the same combination of archaeoastronomy, mythology, archaeology, etc., all drawn together to really paint a holistic vision of what was going on at this time and how we should best understand the archaeological evidence that comes down to us today. So I really found that thrilling as he goes through and tries to decode this ancient mystery. And it's very much like that experience of reading a Graham Hancock book or something like The Immortality Key, where you kind of join the author in his quest to search for the truth and search for information that is at times intentionally buried, at times just very obscure and hard to find. And then at the end, he paints this really amazing picture where everything just comes together for you. So as he states, I don't want to say too much about the content of the book because I really don't want to spoil some of these really important moments of illumination that come across as you're reading. So this is what the author has to say about it. And once again, I'm quoting here. He says, I experienced the years of research and writing on this subject as a gradual unveiling of a mystery. I have therefore tried to recapture some of this experience by allowing the story to unfold step by step, slowly adding separate pieces to a puzzle whose final image does not become clear until the end. This calls for some patience on the part of my readers, but I hope that their patience will be rewarded, as my own efforts were, by a burst of excited recognition when all of the pieces suddenly do fall into place. Now, this is an extraordinary opportunity for us as readers to not only learn about ourselves and our history and join David on his quest to decode these ancient mysteries, but also to actually have the experience of being initiated into a mystery or a mystery cult in our school ourselves. This is an increasingly rare opportunity in the information age, when all information, even that which was kept, under strict secrecy in the past, is kind of just widely available to us, on the internet and the proliferation of books and scholarly works. this is a really unique opportunity to dive into something that is truly mysterious and to be guided along that journey in a way where you do have this series of kind of epiphanies or illuminations or realizations as you see the different pieces kind of falling together. That's exactly how I experienced it, both the first time I read it and again when I just read it this week. I just think it's a really amazing experience reading through the book. It's very informative, and it tackles one of the biggest mysteries of the Greco-Roman era. What did these mystery religions teach? What did they believe? Why did they come into existence in the first place? And maybe also why they died off and why they lost out, in competition to Christianity. So I really hope you enjoy the book. Of course, I'll have a link below for you for anyone who's interested in picking up a copy for themselves. And I also have a link to my blog post so you can read the written review if you prefer that, or if you just want to check out my blog. I've got tons of other book reviews and other stuff on there as well. Well, thank you for watching. If you liked the video, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't already. And if you want to support my efforts to review more books and create more content about the philosophy and spiritual practices of our past, consider supporting me on Patreon using the link below. All right, well, have a good weekend. See you next week.